Since today is the last day of the retreat, one of the things to take up is returning to the world, so to speak, how to continue this practice in a realistic, natural way when we return to the world. I trust you've all become quite intimate with your bodies, the pain, the pleasure, and so on. Finding out what works with your body. For example, how reacting against something tends to just make it worse. But being able to settle in and just feel the sensations without reacting to them. It's not an answer to everything, but it's very, very helpful. It doesn't create additional problems on top of the pain. Finding out the posture that works for you. The only way to do that is to try it. Different postures. I'm sure Monica had some helpful suggestions today and yesterday, and also Fred with the movements, the Qigong and so on outside, and just doing the Kinhin, just walking, following the foot of the person in front of you, but in such a way that you're maintaining the posture. The breath is a little different when you walk, but still you can hold and allow the concentration that has developed in the Zazen to be carried out in a simple movement and walking. Well, today it won't be just walking, right? It will be walking, maybe driving, getting on a train, meeting family, catching up with emails. So this is not something completely different, but naturally the mind tends to become dispersed. There are many other things. We were able to hold that concentration during a good part of this retreat because of the way that it's organized, because of the way we have meals, the way we take a break, the way we sit, the way we do Kinhin. But from today, naturally, we will now return to the world. The first thing I would urge you is not to try to maintain this kind of a practice when you go back. That's what we did here for several days. I don't know, I didn't count, maybe 10, 12 hours a day we were sitting in Zazen. Precious, precious. When you go back to the world, so to speak, find out how to realistically continue that practice. For example, sitting in the morning before your family gets up so as not to disturb the daily routine. Or sitting before you go to bed, or sitting in the afternoon if you have a chance. It won't be 10 hours. It doesn't need to be. That's what we were doing here. We were doing it here, so when you go back, you can continue it in a natural, realistic way. If you can sit for a half an hour or even an hour, great, please do it. But don't disturb your daily life in order to squeeze in a lot of Zazen. It's usually not very good Zazen, and it just disturbs your daily life. It doesn't work. It's disturbing both things, you see. So do what needs to be done when you get home, and do it well. Don't go back shouldering your precious enlightenment and trying to teach everyone that the ignorant people that were working maybe while you were sitting on your butt here, teaching them. No, go back and find it there. If you can't find it there, you didn't find it here. Go back and hear what their experiences were for the last 5 days. What did they go through while we were sitting on our butts? What were their trials and tribulations? Do you think that was any less valuable than what we did here? So go back open and curious. What was their experience like? And then you will realize, as precious as this was, what they were doing is just as precious, just as precious. I urge you to confirm this. You see how, as you are able to open up and, to use Zen terminology, realize your original face, so to speak, your true nature. Realize who and what you really are, and to live that, to manifest it. If this is real, one way to test it is you start to see it in others as well. It's not just about you. If you don't see it in the other, you probably didn't really see it in yourself. The other, the friend, the relative, the fellow Buddhist, the person who has no idea what Buddhism is, your friends, if you have any, your enemies. Can you see that original face there? This is where the practice really hits the road, as we say, where the tire meets the road, as we say. Sitting here on our little cushions is relatively easy. You all figured that out, right? The last couple of days. This is nothing. But going back and meeting with others, perhaps someone you don't get along with, someone you disagree with, someone you think is an asshole. Here's where the practice really must be real. No, I'm not suggesting that now when you go back you will agree with everything that everyone says. Not at all. But there is a place for them. You start to be able to see where that other is coming from. And that ground is the same ground that you are coming from. It can take a very different appearance for sure. Causes and conditions vary. But as you are able to see into your own nature, if it's real, you will start to be able to see into the other's real nature too. Where they are coming from, what they are struggling with, what their joy is. And as that happens, the way you relate can also be transformed. You're no longer seeing them as the other, the maybe stupid, stubborn, ignorant other, but as another person like you coming from this common ground. The nature of the relationship. No, they're not going to necessarily agree with you all of a sudden, but at least you can agree to disagree in an open manner, to speak your mind clearly and to listen fully to where they are coming from. No, you don't have to agree with them, but you do have to give them room. But this becomes easier as we open up to our true nature. It's not just ours, you see? You start to be able to see it in the other. This is where the practice really takes off. Taking a walk in nature after the retreat. Oh, it's lovely, just walking in nature, maybe hearing the bird song. Oh, maybe even a deer appears. Oh, it's just, but encounters with other people, especially, again, someone maybe you disagree with, you don't get along with. Here's where the practice really must be real, you see? Don't go looking for trouble, but appreciate those opportunities. There's where you can really mature in the practice. There's where you can really be tested and see, is it real or not? The morning sittings before breakfast, really silent and solid, all of us sitting as one. I trust in some sense you can take that with you when you go. You'll maybe be sitting on your own or with a small group. I believe almost everyone here lives near some kind of a group that they can sit with once a week or whatever. If not, there are endless online opportunities. But of course, to meet in person occasionally, weekly or whatever, can be really valuable both for you and for the other. So I believe almost all of you are close to a place where you can go and join in with others. If the sitting is real, you will do it on your own. But it's also precious, very valuable to practice with others at times. Again, both for yourself and for others. So I believe we're all in a very fortunate situation where we can come to something like this, but we also have a regular place to practice with some others, and of course to sit on our own. As I said, in a realistic way. You don't need to sit 10 hours every day now, but to sit for some time. One good half-hour sit is better than trying to rush everything so that you can keep it. I have to sit an hour. So the hell with with what my family is doing or the work that needs to be no, I have to sit for an hour. Well, you're going to be sitting there thinking about all the stuff that you need to do. So do what you need to do. And then maybe you'll only have 20 minutes or 30 minutes, but it will be very good Zazen because you can be finished with that stuff and then you can just give yourself to the practice. It's not just a matter of quantity, but of quality. Certainly on occasion to be able to sit for a few hours straight is really valuable. I would recommend when you have time, forget the watch, forget the timer. If you have a whole afternoon or a whole day free, forget the timer and just sit. Just sit. Make sure you're settled and just sit for a couple of hours. Sit until there's nothing left. Nothing left at all. And sit a couple more minutes just to be sure. And get up and do what needs to be done. This is a very good practice when you have a chance. When I travel, plane or car or train, I often, it can be hard to sit like this. If you're on a plane and the next seat is empty, you can, if you lift up the armrest, sometimes you can even kind of sit in between two seats and kind of do full lotus, but you got to be aware of the people around you, thinking, is he maybe a Muslim or something? A blanket can help. Yeah. But what I often do, thank you, Ronald, for putting the chair here. When I am for a few hours sitting somewhere, what I try to do if it's in a chair is I sit with one leg up like this. I find this really helps the back, the lower back. Chairs are often in the plane, even office chairs, they're often not very, ergonomically sound. Apparently they put a lot of effort into trying to make them, but they're still working on it, let's put it that way. So I find putting one leg up like this, so it doesn't look too weird if you're in a train or a car, or you can go like this, like that. I find this is for a couple hours, just sit like this. It's really good. And it's a lot easier on my lower back than just sitting like this. Or you see people in the airport, I see them all the time. This cannot be good. I'm not a medical doctor, but this is not good for the health. It's not good for anything. So when you go back, try to sit erect. You don't have to be sitting in Zazen all the time, but see that your posture is good, because that allows you to remain clear and alert. Again, you don't have to always be sitting in Zazen, but if you're sitting like this or you're at the computer, it's going to affect your body, your consciousness. So be aware how you sit. You will find maybe a day, a couple days, a week after the retreat, when you've forgotten about it, all of a sudden, maybe you're doing something, maybe even something you don't like, or a meeting with someone you don't, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, this is practice too. This is it. This is it. It can be a very good insight, huh? Oh, this is it too. It's a kind of a synergy, huh? That encourages you to go back and practice and sit. And the sitting, as it deepens, it starts to bubble up naturally in your everyday life. Huh? All of a sudden, oh, this is it too. Good. They work together, you see? They work together. They cease to be two entirely different things, your time on the cushion and the rest of your life. Well, they're not really two different things to begin with. But we do artificially, in a sense, consciously create, right? I mean, this already is doing something, huh? A special place and a special time, for example, to do Zazen. It's all good and well, but that's not the end of it, huh? It's not something that you're just doing at a certain place, at a certain time, and a certain posture. That time and place and posture is really helpful to get settled and to realize it. But the point is, when you go all the way in, you realize you can't get out of it. No matter how you leap up or jump or find yourself in a chaotic situation. Because it's nothing to be grasped onto in the first place, it doesn't disappear. It doesn't need to disappear. It comes to be the way you are. This is how the practice naturally matures. Huh? But you might give it some time when the retreat's over, maybe take a day or two. Take a nice hot bath if your legs or your back are sore. Huh? Nice hot bath. If you have a thermal spa nearby, give it a try. Huh? And take a day or two. Rest up. Catch up on your sleep. And then see, does the Zazen really call you back to practice? If it does, well, you've made a solid foundation here. It will be very easy to continue. But take a day or two. Is this really the way for you to go? It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. So maybe leave it alone for a day or two if you're not sure, and then see. Does it call you back? If it does, well, you've got what you need. Huh? But there's more than one way to skin a cat, as we put it in Mark Twain English, huh? Pretty bizarre image, isn't it? But Zen, practice of Zen, and Zazen is certainly one superb way, huh? But it's not the only one. Find out. Is this really the way you need to go? If it is, you've got what you need, huh? can be difficult to explain what you were doing for the last 5 days to some people. Huh? You may have already noticed that, huh? Some people, before you even say anything, they understand. Other people, you can talk until the cows come home, as we say, and they still won't have any idea what you're talking about. So sometimes it's better just to say, I was skiing. Yeah, especially if you're limping at the time, huh? Because you know, it can be difficult for someone who's not experienced in this kind of thing to understand. You know what? So what were you doing for the last week? Well, I spent a couple €100 and I stayed up late at night and I sat in very painful positions. And how much did you pay for that? Yeah, but we used to get hit with a stick. Okay, well, you're definitely improving. So yeah, sometimes it's good to consider how to explain something like this, huh? The spiritual practice. You were at a Catholic retreat center. That can solve some problems there. Huh? Mm. Did you pray? Kind of. Yeah, at times. But it's not really necessary to explain. We still have plenty of time. So again, today, because it's the end of the retreat, let us open for questions of practice in the world, returning to the world and such, as well as any other questions you may have about the posture, the breath, the mind, what to do with the mind, or any remaining questions for the other people who did the brief Dharma talks, or anyone for that matter. Please, for the benefit of all, feel free. Yes, Monica.
We have a chair. Can I show another position
Yeah.
on the chair for daily life?
Why don't we move it over here so it will be on the camera.
This, and then you can, when your arms are longer, you can, or you can this. It is helping a lot for sitting. You can sit there.
So you press down. Can you do it again?
I press down.
And you
yes.
press down a little here, huh?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Maybe that should.
Mm-hmm.
It's very helpful too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again all for your questions and your comments and for opening up for the benefit of all. Thank you.